The man who taught me to trust again, the one who held my purple heart in his hands and told me I wasn't broken, was sleeping with my wife while I slept on his couch. Stay with me. This gets worse before it gets better. But I promise you, there's a reason I'm still standing here. My name is James Wilson. I'm 38 years old. I'm an EMT now, but before that, I did 3 tours, Iraq, then Afghanistan twice. I came home with a purple heart and PTSD that used to wake me up screaming about a guy named Martinez who died in my arms. Used to. Past tense. Because I got help. I trusted someone to help me heal. That was my first mistake, but I'm getting ahead of myself. This story starts 6 months ago, on what I thought was the best night of my life. Sarah comes into the kitchen holding something behind her back. It's a Thursday evening, early March, and I'm making spaghetti, my specialty, which really just means I can boil water without setting off the smoke alarm. She's got that look on her face, the one where her eyes are too bright and she can't stop moving her hands. "Sit down," she says. I'm literally cooking. "James, sit down." So I turn off the burner and I sit. And she brings her hand around and there it is, a pregnancy test with 2 pink lines so obvious even I can read them from across the table. I don't remember standing up. I don't remember crossing the kitchen. But suddenly I'm holding her and she's crying and I'm crying and we're both laughing like idiots because we've been trying for 2 years. 2 years of doctor's visits and Sarah tracking her cycle, and me wondering if maybe the injuries from that IED blast had taken more from me than just the hearing in my left ear and the scars on my back. "We're having a baby," I say, and it doesn't feel real. "We're having a baby," she repeats, and her hands are shaking when she touches my face. That's when I notice she's trembling. Really trembling, her fingers cold against my cheek. "You okay?" I ask. I'm overwhelmed. Good overwhelmed. This is everything we wanted." I pull her closer. "This is everything." Behind us, on the shelf above the kitchen table, my purple heart sits in its shadow box. Forest Service green velvet backing, the metal itself with its purple ribbon, faded to lavender on one edge, where afternoon sunlight hits it every day at 3 p.m. The exact time I earned it. I glance at it, like I always do when I need to remember I'm capable of something hard. And I say a silent prayer of thanks. The metal just watches us celebrate. I don't know yet that it will become evidence. Michael Davis shows up an hour later with a bottle of sparkling cider because he's been my best friend for 20 years, and he knows I don't drink anymore. Not since the nightmares got bad. He's also a detective with the city police department, which means he shows up to everything in business casual, and somehow makes it look like he's ready for either a dinner party or a stakeout. "Brother!" He grabs me in a hug that would crack ribs on a smaller man. "Sarah told me. A dad. You're gonna be a dad." "Don't jinx it," Sarah laughs, but she's glowing. Actually glowing. We sit around the kitchen table, the same table my parents gave us when we got married 8 years ago, and Michael raises his plastic cup of cider. "To the Wilson family, growing by one." "To family," I echo. "To family," Sarah says, and when she lifts her cup, I catch it again. That tremor in her hands. But I tell myself it's joy, nerves, excitement. I should have known better. 2 months earlier, January, I'm sitting in Dr. Bennett's office for my weekly session. It's a Tuesday afternoon, always Tuesday afternoons, 2 o'clock, and I've been seeing him for about 18 months now. He's the one who finally got me sleeping through the night. The one who taught me that the nightmares about Martinez weren't my fault, that survivor's guilt was normal, that I could be both a veteran and a whole person. The office smells like lavender and old books. Dr. Christopher Bennett is 42, calm in the way that makes you feel like nothing you say will shock him. He's got degrees on the wall from schools I can't pronounce, and a voice like warm honey. "How was your week, James?" he asks. I'm recording this session. I record all of them on a little silver Sony digital recorder, no bigger than a deck of cards. It sits on my side of the desk, red light glowing. Dr. Bennett suggested it himself, back when we started. "Documentation helps," he'd said. "You can track your progress, listen back when you need to remind yourself how far you've come." "I had the nightmare again," I tell him, "the one where Martinez is calling my name and I can't reach him." Dr. Bennett nods, makes a note on his legal pad. "But you got back to sleep afterward?" "Yeah, Sarah helped. She held my hand until I calmed down. Didn't say anything, just stayed. That's significant growth, James. A year ago, you wouldn't have let her see you like that. He's right. A year ago, I would have locked myself in the bathroom until the shaking stopped. Sarah's patient with me, I say. Sarah's lucky to have you, Dr. Bennett replies, and he closes his notepad with a soft snap. You're doing the work. That's what matters. Outside in the waiting room, Sarah is reading a magazine. She insisted on coming today, said she wanted to support me, even though I told her it wasn't necessary. But there she is when I walk out, and she smiles at me with such warmth that I feel, for the first time in months, like maybe I'm not broken after all. Dr. Bennett passes us on his way to the coffee machine in the hallway. Mrs. Wilson, he nods at Sarah. Dr. Bennett, she replies. Looking back now, I wonder, what work was he really doing? March again. 6 weeks after Sarah's pregnancy announcement, Michael calls me at 2 a.m. James, you awake? I am now. I'm already sitting up, heart pounding, because cops don't call at 2 a.m. with good news. What's wrong? I need you to meet me. Denny's on 15th Street. Can you come now? Michael, what? Not on the phone. Please, just come. I slide out of bed carefully so I don't wake Sarah, grab jeans and a shirt, leave a note on the kitchen counter. Emergency call from Michael. Back soon. Love you. The Purple Heart watches me leave. Denny's is empty except for a waitress who looks like she's given up on humanity and one drunk guy arguing with his pancakes. Michael is in a corner booth, and when I slide in across from him, I see it immediately. He's scared. Michael doesn't get scared. I've seen this man tackle armed suspects. I watched him talk down a guy holding a hostage with a machete, but right now, sitting across from me with his hands wrapped around a coffee cup, he looks terrified. Talk to me, I say. I was on a stakeout, Wednesday night, watching a suspect we think is running credit card fraud out of the extended stay on Morrison Street. He stops, drinks coffee, won't meet my eyes. And I saw Sarah's car. The world goes very quiet, like someone turned down the volume on everything except my heartbeat. What? Her Civic, with your veteran plates, in the parking lot, at 11 p.m. He slides a manila folder across the table. I ran the plates to be sure. It's hers. I don't open the folder. Could be anyone driving her car. James, could be a friend borrowing it. Could be... I sat there for 3 hours. Michael's voice cracks. At 2 a.m., she came out of room 217 with a man. They stood by her car for 20 minutes. He kissed her, she kissed him back. Now I open the folder, surveillance photos, time-stamped. Sarah, unmistakably Sarah, in the parking lot. A man I don't recognize, tall, dark hair going gray at the temples, expensive coat. His hand on her waist, her hand on his chest. Both of them smiling like they've got all the time in the world. I went back Thursday night, Michael continues. Same thing, Friday, she didn't show. Saturday night, there again. I've got 4 nights of surveillance, James. It's a pattern. My hands are shaking now. The same way Sarah's hands shook when she told me about the baby. She's pregnant, I hear myself say. I know. She's 6 weeks pregnant. I know, brother. That's why He stops, rubs his face. I didn't want to tell you. I sat in my car for an hour trying to figure out if there was any version of this where I could just keep my mouth shut, but I couldn't do it. I'm staring at photo number 3, the kiss. The way this stranger's hand cups the back of Sarah's head. The way she's leaning into him like she belongs there. 20 years, Michael says quietly. I've known you for 20 years, man. You took shrapnel for your unit. You earned that medal for refusing to leave a brother behind. And now, I gotta tell you this. And you're gonna think your PTSD is making you paranoid, and I can't let you think that. He's crying now. Michael Davis, 6'2" and built like a linebacker, with tears running down his face in a Denny's at 2:30 in the morning. What am I supposed to do? I ask. I don't know, but whatever you need, I'm here. Same thing you do for me. He reaches across the table, grips my shoulder. I'm not leaving you with this alone. If you've ever had a friend who showed up when everyone else walked away, drop brotherhood in the comments. Let them know you see them. Michael puts cash on the table for the coffee we didn't drink. His partner, Rodriguez, is waiting in the patrol car outside. He was on the stakeout too, witnessed the whole thing. You sure you want to do this? Rodriguez had asked Michael, apparently. I heard about it later, Michael had nodded. He's my brother. That's what real brotherhood looks like. I drive home as the sun comes up. Sarah's car is in the driveway. She's asleep when I get back, curled on her side with one hand under the pillow. I stand in the bedroom doorway and watch her breathe and try to figure out what the hell I'm supposed to do with the information that's now burning a hole in my chest. The pregnancy test is still on her nightstand. 2 pink lines. I go to my home office, the spare bedroom I converted into a desk and filing cabinets, and the pegboard where I keep my old unit photos. And I open my laptop. I pull up the calendar, the deployment calendar I keep because remembering where I was when helps with the PTSD episodes. March 15th through March 29th, I was at Fort Bragg for a training exercise. Annual recertification for EMT tactical qualification. Mandatory. 2 weeks, no exceptions. I pull up the ultrasound report Sarah brought home from her first OB appointment. Estimated conception date, March 18th through 24th. Dead center of when I was 400 miles away. I sit there for a long time, staring at the dates circled in red marker. The math is simple. Elementary school, simple. Either I was capable of remote conception, or Sarah was lying, or my PTSD had finally made me lose my grip on reality entirely. I open my journal, the one where I track my symptoms, my sleep, my good days versus bad days. Dr. Bennett suggested I keep it. Pattern recognition, he'd called it, so you can see you're getting better. I flipped to March, the page where I wrote, on March 21st. Best day in months, slept through the night, no nightmares. Sarah called to say she misses me. Finally feel like life is making sense again. I was 400 miles away on every single date the doctor listed, which meant either I was losing my mind or Sarah was lying. I spend the next 3 days pretending everything is normal. Sarah makes breakfast. I go to work. We talk about baby names and nursery colors and whether we should find out the gender or be surprised. She's a good actress. I'll give her that. On day 4, I'm looking for her car keys because mine are dead and I need to move her Civic before the street sweeper comes. I check the usual spots, kitchen counter, her purse, coat pockets. Nothing. Then I check her gym bag. Sarah started going to the gym more about 4 months ago. Getting healthy for the baby, she said, even though we weren't pregnant yet. I thought it was optimistic, sweet even. The gym bag is black nylon, one of those cheap ones from a Target with 1,000,000 pockets. I unzip the main compartment, workout clothes that don't look dirty. Unzip the side pocket, nothing. Then I find the inner pocket, the one with the hidden zipper that's supposed to be for valuables. There's a phone inside, not her phone, a different phone, a cheap silver flip phone like something from 2008, with a cracked screen and a battery half dead. My hands are shaking when I turn it on. 37 text messages, all from a contact labeled C. I scroll through them. My vision narrows to a tunnel. C. Same time tomorrow? I miss you already. Sarah. Yes. J has overnight shift. We have until 6 a.m. C. Perfect. Bring the thing we talked about. Sarah. Already bought it. He won't notice. Further back. Sarah. He actually thanked me today for being patient with him. This is almost too easy. C. Told you, they never suspect the wife, especially not the supportive one. I keep scrolling. There are references to the sessions, to therapy days, to timing and schedules and how many weeks until the plan is complete. Then I get to a text from 2 weeks ago. Sarah. I'm pregnant. C. Are you sure? Timing was tight. Sarah. Doctor confirmed it. 6 weeks. C. And he believes it's his? Sarah. Completely. I cried when I told him. He cried too. God, Christopher, he has no idea. Christopher. Not C for Caroline or Christina or any woman's name. I'd been half convincing myself it might be. C for Christopher. I hear the front door open. Sarah's home. I close the phone, slide it back into the inner pocket, zip the gym bag, put it exactly where I found it, on the floor by the coat closet. Sarah walks into the kitchen, sees me standing there. Hey, babe, what are you doing? Looking for your keys, I say. My voice sounds normal. I don't know how. Oh, they're in my purse. I moved them this morning. She smiles at me, walks over, kisses my cheek. You okay? You look pale. Just tired. You working too hard, she says, and her hand rests on my chest, right over my heart. You need to take care of yourself. We're going to have a baby, James. You need to be here for us. I look at her. Really look at her. The woman I've loved for 8 years. The woman who held my hand through nightmares and never once made me feel weak for crying. The woman who just stood in our kitchen and lied to my face while touching the spot where my heart is breaking. Yeah, I say. For us. She goes upstairs to change. I stand in the kitchen alone. On the shelf, the Purple Heart watches. The case's velvet lining is worn soft, where my thumb always rests on the edge. 20 years of seeking comfort from a piece of fabric and metal. The purple ribbon faded to lavender on one edge, where sunlight hits it every afternoon at 3 p.m. I earned that medal by refusing to leave a man behind. Even when staying almost got me killed. Now I realize, sometimes the person you need to leave behind is the one who already left you. One text stopped my heart. He actually thanked me today for helping him trust again. This is almost too easy. Then I saw the contact name. Not C for Caroline or Christina. C for Christopher. Christopher. I spend the next hour sitting in my home office, staring at that name on the burner phone screen until my eyes burn. Christopher. It's not a common name in my life. I know 3 Christophers, my cousin in Oregon, who I haven't talked to in 5 years, a guy from my EMT training who moved to Texas, and no, it can't be. But the phone is still in my hand, and I scroll back through the messages again, looking for anything else, any clue, and then I find it buried in a conversation from 3 months ago. Sarah. What if he finds out? What if someone sees us? See, they won't. We're careful. And even if he suspects something, who's he going to believe? His therapist or his paranoia? His therapist. The office tilts sideways. I grip the edge of my desk to stay upright. Dr. Christopher Bennett, the man who taught me to trust again, the man who held my Purple Heart in his hands during our 3rd session and told me it didn't mean I was broken, it meant I survived. The man who I've been seeing every Tuesday for 18 months, telling him everything, every fear, every nightmare, every moment of weakness. The man Sarah insisted on accompanying me to see, sitting in the waiting room with magazines, saying she wanted to support me. I'm going to be sick. I make it to the bathroom just in time. When I'm done, I sit on the cold tile floor with my back against the bathtub, and I try to breathe the way Dr. Bennett taught me. 4 counts in, hold for 4, 4 counts out. Except now I know. Every breathing technique, every coping strategy, every moment of vulnerability, he was hearing it all while sleeping with my wife, using my trauma as pillow talk, maybe laughing about it. My phone rings. Michael. Did you check? He asks without preamble. Yeah. And? I need you to come over, and I need you to bring Rodriguez. I need someone who's not me to verify that what I'm about to show you is real. They arrive 40 minutes later. Sarah's at the grocery store. I check the location sharing on her phone, which she doesn't know I have access to. She's got another 30 minutes, maybe 40 if traffic is bad. I show them the burner phone. Michael's jaw tightens with every message he reads. Rodriguez, a compact guy with 20 years on the force and eyes that have seen everything, actually pales. James, Michael says carefully, this Christopher, you know who it is? My therapist, Dr. Christopher Bennett. Michael stops, sits down hard on my couch. Brother, your therapist? She met him at my sessions, told me she wanted to support me, to understand what I was going through. She'd sit in the waiting room. Sometimes they'd chat while I was in with him. I'm amazed at how steady my voice sounds. Apparently they did more than chat. Rodriguez is still scrolling through the messages. James, this is beyond an affair. These messages reference your sessions, your treatment. There are dates here that match. He stops, looks at me. Do you record your sessions? Yeah. Dr. Bennett suggested it, for progress tracking. Where are the recordings? On my laptop. Why? Because if these timestamps match, and if there's any mention of your wife in those sessions, we might have something bigger than adultery. Rodriguez's cop face is fully engaged now. This could be ethics violations, medical malpractice, possibly criminal. Michael is just staring at me. How are you this calm? I'm not calm. I'm in shock. I sit down beside him. Michael, I told him everything, every nightmare, every time I thought I was losing my mind, every moment I doubted myself. And he was... My voice cracks. He was feeding it all to her, using it against me. We need to get those recordings, Rodriguez says, now, before you second-guess this. My laptop has 18 months of therapy sessions, saved in a folder labeled Progress. Each file is dated and numbered, Session 1 through Session 71. The last one is from 3 weeks ago, right before Sarah announced the pregnancy. I opened Session 23 at random, December, 6 months ago. My voice comes through the laptop speakers, tinny and small. Can't shake the feeling that I'm not present enough. Sarah keeps asking if I'm okay, and I keep lying and saying I'm fine. Dr. Bennett's voice, warm and reassuring. That's a common response to trauma, James. The emotional numbing, but you're here, doing the work. That's what matters. There's a pause, then a buzz, faint but audible. A phone vibrating. Excuse me, Dr. Bennett says. I need to check this. It might be urgent. A longer pause, I hear typing. Then Bennett's voice again. Sorry about that. Where were we? In the session, I kept talking. I told him about a fight Sarah and I had the night before, about how I felt like I was failing her, about how guilty I felt for making her deal with my problems. Here in my office 6 months later, I checked the timestamp. December 18th, 2:34 p.m. I open the burner phone. Search. December 18th. There it is. A message from Sarah to Bennett, timestamped 2:34 p.m. Sarah, he's pulling away again. I told you this wouldn't work. See, give it time. He's talking about it right now, actually. I'll handle it. I was in that room, on that couch, pouring my heart out about failing my wife. While my therapist was texting my wife to reassure her that he'd handle it, Michael is standing behind me, reading over my shoulder. Jesus Christ. Keep going, Rodriguez says quietly. I open Session 31, Session 38, Session 45. The pattern is the same. Every session where I mention Sarah, within minutes, there's a text exchange between them. Sometimes during the session, sometimes right after. Always coordinating, always planning. In Session 38, I talked about wanting to have a baby, about being scared my PTSD would make me a bad father. Bennett's response on the recording, James, the fact that you're aware of these concerns means you'll be a great father. You're thinking ahead. That's exactly what a good parent does. And then, that same evening, Bennett to Sarah. He's ready. Whenever you want to move forward with the plan, he won't suspect. I stop the recording. Close the laptop. What plan? I ask the empty room. Michael answers, voice flat. The pregnancy. Brother, I think they planned the pregnancy. I need air. I need to think. But I also need to keep gathering evidence because some part of me, the part that's been gaslit for months, maybe years, still doesn't quite believe this is happening. I check the bathroom medicine cabinet. Sarah's prescription bottles are usually in here. Birth control, vitamins, the occasional antibiotic. There's a new bottle I don't recognize. Orange plastic, slightly peeled label at the corner. I pick it up. Xanax, 0.5 ml. Prescribed to Sarah Wilson. Prescribed by C. Bennett, MD. The room spins again. I take a photo of the label with my phone. Then I put the bottle back exactly where I found it. When I come back downstairs, Rodriguez is on his phone. Yeah, I need you to run a name for me. Christopher Bennett, MD. Therapist, probably licensed in state. I need to know if there are any complaints filed against him. He listens, makes notes, hangs up. Nothing official on record, he says. But I've got a friend at the VA who handles informal complaints, the kind that don't go anywhere because veterans don't want to make waves. Let me make another call. While he does that, Michael sits beside me. James, brother, what do you need? What can I do? I don't know. I stop. I need to know if I'm crazy, if my PTSD is making me see patterns that aren't there. Your PTSD didn't write those text messages. Your PTSD didn't forge prescription bottles. You're not crazy. Michael's voice is fierce. What you are is being gaslit by two people who knew exactly how to manipulate you. Rodriguez comes back, and his face tells me everything before he says a word. I talked to Grace Martinez. She's a counselor at the VA, handles family support programs. I didn't give her your name, just asked generally about Bennett. He sits down. James, there have been 3 informal complaints about Dr. Bennett in the past 4 years, all from veterans and spouses. All the same story, inappropriate boundaries, getting too close to the families, crossing lines. Why didn't anyone do anything? Michael demands. Because veterans don't want to lose their therapists. Because the spouses who complained felt guilty, like maybe they misread signals. Because Bennett is careful. He never does anything that leaves a paper trail. Rodriguez looks at me. Until now. Until he prescribed medication to a patient's wife while having an affair with her. The prescription bottle. That's the mistake. That's the thread we can pull. I need to talk to Grace, I say. Grace Martinez meets me at a coffee shop 2 miles from the VA center. She's 45, with kind eyes and an edge that says she doesn't take crap from anyone. She's wearing a name tag that says Family Support Coordinator. I show her the prescription bottle photo. Her face goes white. James, this isn't just an affair. If he prescribed her medication while they were involved, that's a felony. That's using his medical license to facilitate a personal relationship with a patient's family member. She's taking notes now, fast and furious. How long has he been treating you? 18 months. And when did the relationship between him and your wife start? Based on the texts, at least 8 months ago, maybe longer. Grace sets down her pen, looks at me directly. How many other patients' families has he done this to? That's when I realize I might not be the only one. The 3 complaints Rodriguez mentioned, the pattern. I don't know, I say, but I want to find out. It takes Grace 3 days to make contact with the other families. She's careful, doesn't use names, doesn't violate confidentiality. Just reaches out through veteran support networks, asks if anyone has concerns about Dr. Christopher Bennett. 4 families respond, 4 veterans, 4 wives who Bennett approached during support sessions, 4 pregnancies that happened during active treatment. Michael helps coordinate a meeting. We gather in a VA conference room after hours, 6 veterans, Grace, Michael, and me. We don't use last names, just first names and unit designations, the way we do in group therapy. I'm James, 3 tours, EMT Tactical, Purple Heart. Marcus, 2 tours, Army Infantry. He's younger than me, maybe 32. His hands shake when he talks. Dr. Bennett started treating me 2 years ago for PTSD. My wife Emily started coming to sessions about 6 months in. He said it would help if she understood what I was going through. Same, says another vet, David, Navy corpsman. He told me having my wife Janet in the waiting room showed family support, that it would speed my recovery. One by one, they tell the same story. The therapist who got too close, the wife who suddenly seemed distant, the pregnancy that happened right when they were most vulnerable, the gaslighting. Your PTSD is making you paranoid. You're seeing things that aren't there. I would never doubt you, but maybe you should talk to Dr. Bennett about these suspicions. He told me all veterans have trust issues, Marcus says. His voice breaks. He said it was normal to suspect your wife when you have PTSD, that I should work on my jealousy in our sessions. Meanwhile, He can't finish. I reach across the table, grip his shoulder. We don't leave our own, brother. Marcus looks up, nods. We don't leave our own. That night, I sit in my office and I do something I've been avoiding. I open the shadow box that holds my Purple Heart. The case's magnetic lid clicks open, a sound I know like my own heartbeat. The velvet lining is worn soft where my thumb always rests. Tucked behind the metal, in a small folded envelope, is a letter I wrote 3 years ago. I'd almost forgotten about it. It's addressed to my future son or daughter. I unfold it. My own handwriting looks back at me, dear son or daughter. If you're reading this, your dad earned this medal by refusing to leave a brother behind. His name was Martinez. He was 23 years old, and he was my brother in every way that mattered. When he got hit, I had a choice: take cover and survive, or go back for him and risk everything. I went back. I was scared. I was hurt, but I couldn't leave him. That's what this medal really means. It's not about being brave. It's about choosing your brothers, even when choosing them might cost you everything. I hope I teach you that. I hope I show you that we don't leave our own. That family, real family, is the people who show up when everyone else walks away. That loyalty matters. That promises matter. That when someone needs you, you go back. I love you already, even though I haven't met you yet. Dad. I fold the letter carefully. Put it back in the case. That's what I wrote. Before I knew my wife was destroying me. Before I knew my therapist was teaching me to trust, while betraying that trust in the worst possible way. But the words are still true. We don't leave our own. And right now, Our own is 6 other veterans who got exploited the same way I did. The evidence keeps mounting. Michael's been helping me organize everything: timeline charts, text message logs, prescription records. It turns out Bennett prescribed anxiety medication to 3 of the other wives too. Always during the affair, always billing insurance as family therapy, even though he was sleeping with them. But the worst evidence comes 2 days before I plan to confront Sarah. I'm checking the cloud backup on Sarah's tablet. She doesn't know I have the password. And I find a folder labeled Therapy Days. There are 14 photos inside. I almost don't open it. Michael's sitting next to me and he says, "Brother, maybe you don't need to see." "I need to see." I click the first photo. It's me, sitting on our bed, holding the Purple Heart case open on my lap. My face is half in shadow, but you can see I've been crying. It's from our anniversary 6 weeks ago, right after I told Sarah how grateful I was that she stayed through the worst of my PTSD. The caption Sarah added, "Still needs his blankie, C was right. All the therapy in the world won't fix this one." Michael makes a sound like he's been punched. "Keep going," I say. My voice doesn't sound like mine anymore. Photo 2. Me asleep, clearly in the middle of a nightmare. Face twisted, one arm thrown up defensive, sheet tangled around my legs. The photo is close up. She must have stood inches from my face to take it. During the nightmare where I relive watching Martinez die. Caption, "The broken soldier sleeps. Can you believe I deal with this every night?" Photo 3. Me in Dr. Bennett's office, shot through the window. I'm crying, tissues in my hand, head bowed. Bennett is visible across from me, notepad open. Caption, "C said he'd cry today. So predictable." This is too easy. There are 11 more photos. Each one a moment of vulnerability, each one mocked, each one shared with the man who was supposed to be helping me heal. Michael is standing now, pacing. "James, she photographed you at your most defenseless. She weaponized your trauma. This is evil," I finish. "This is evil." I forward all 14 photos to my own phone, document everything. Then I do something I haven't done in years. I call Colonel Henry Thompson. Colonel Thompson was my commanding officer during my second tour. He's retired now, 65 years old, living in Virginia. But when I tell him what's happening, he's on a plane within 6 hours. He sits in my living room, this man who once led 200 soldiers through hell, and he listens to everything. The affair, the therapist, the gaslighting, the photos, the other victims. When I'm done, he's quiet for a long time. "Son," he finally says, "you've got 2 choices here. You can let rage win, and I wouldn't blame you, given what they've done. Or you can let justice speak. You can do this right through the system and make sure Bennett never does this to another soldier. What about Sarah? Sarah made her choices. Sarah used your service, your sacrifice, your trauma as entertainment. There are consequences for that. But you," he points at me, "you're better than what they did to you. You're better than revenge. You're a man who earned that Purple Heart by refusing to leave a brother behind. Don't leave these other soldiers behind now." Michael, who's been quiet this whole time, finally speaks. "Colonel's right. We do this clean. We document everything. We report Bennett to the medical board. We file divorce papers. We protect the other families." He looks at me. "No violence, no threats, no shortcuts. We do this right. That's how we win." I think about Marcus, crying in that VA conference room, about David and his shaking hands, about the 4 other families Bennett destroyed. "Okay," I say, "we do this right. But first, I need to talk to Sarah. Here's my question for you. If someone violated trust this deeply, exploited the vulnerable, weaponized someone's trauma, do you choose revenge or do you choose exposure? Drop revenge or exposure below. I want to know where you stand. I wait until Tuesday. Therapy day. The cruel irony isn't lost on me. Sarah comes home at 3:30, just like always. She's humming when she walks in the door. Actually humming. "Hey babe," she calls out. "Did you?" She stops when she sees me sitting at the kitchen table. The Purple Heart is there, out of its case. The metal itself sitting on the velvet lining. Next to it, the burner phone, the prescription bottle, my laptop, open to Session 23's audio file. James, what's... Sit down, Sarah. Something in my voice makes her freeze. What's going on? Sit down. She sits. Her eyes keep darting to the phone, the prescription bottle, the laptop. She knows. She has to know. Tell me about Christopher, I say. Who? I press play on the laptop. Dr. Bennett's voice fills the kitchen. James, the fact that you're aware of these concerns means you'll be a great father. Then I play the message Michael helped me download from the burner phone. Bennett's voice again, in a text-to-speech format. He's ready. Whenever you want to move forward with the plan, he won't suspect. Sarah's face goes white. Tell me about Christopher, I repeat. She starts to speak, stops, tries again. This isn't... I hold up the prescription bottle. He prescribed you Xanax while treating me, while sleeping with you. That's a felony, Sarah. He used his medical license to facilitate an affair with his patient's wife. James, you're not understanding. I understand perfectly. I'm amazed at how calm I sound. I understand that you met him during my sessions. I understand that you both decided I was vulnerable enough to exploit. I understand that you photographed me during nightmares and sent those photos to him with mocking captions. Her hand goes to her mouth. You saw. I saw all of it. Every text, every photo. Every moment you turned my trauma into entertainment. I pick up the Purple Heart. You called this my blankie. You told him I was broken. You planned a pregnancy to... What? Lock in your share of my VA benefits? Make sure I'd never suspect? No, She's crying now. James, it's not like that. Then tell me what it's like. Tell me why you stood in our bedroom and photographed me reliving the worst day of my life and sent it to the man who was supposed to be helping me heal. She opens her mouth, closes it, opens it again. Christopher said, he said you'd never remember anyway, because of your PTSD. He said that you'd doubt yourself first. He said all veterans do that you'd think it was paranoia before you'd think it was real. There it is, the gaslighting plan, out loud. So, you were going to let me think I was crazy. No, She's sobbing now. I didn't think it would go this far. It started as we were just talking and then you decided to get pregnant with his baby and pass it off as mine. She reaches for the Purple Heart medal. James, please. I pull it back, fast, decisive. That's what Christopher called it, right? My blankie. I hold the medal up between us. You don't get to touch this. You never did. This represents something you'll never understand. Choosing to show up for someone even when it costs you everything. You and Christopher, you chose yourselves. Every single time. I stand up. Put the Purple Heart back in its case. The magnetic lid clicks shut. A sound like a door closing on 8 years of marriage. I filed for divorce this morning. I'm also filing a complaint with the state medical board against Dr. Bennett. Michael has copies of everything. The texts, the prescriptions, the photos, all of it. There are 4 other families filing complaints too. Veterans he exploited the same way he exploited me. Sarah is staring at me like she doesn't recognize me. You're going to move out by the end of the week. Michael's here as a witness. Rodriguez is outside taking notes. Everything you say right now is being documented. I pick up my laptop, the phone, the evidence. The baby you're carrying, I know it's not mine. I was 400 miles away when you conceived, but that baby is innocent, and I'll make sure it's taken care of, just not by you and Bennett. James, I walk toward the door. Stop. Turn back. We don't leave our own, Sarah. That's what I learned in the military. That's what this medal means. But you, I look at her one more time. You left me a long time ago. You just forgot to mention it. I open the door. Colonel Thompson is there, and Michael and Rodriguez with his official documentation. Behind me, Sarah is still sitting at the kitchen table, holding her stomach, where a baby that isn't mine is growing. We don't leave our own, I say again, but this time I'm looking at my brothers, the ones who showed up, the ones who stayed. We don't leave our own, brother, Michael echoes, and we walk out together. The law moves slowly. Anyone who tells you different is lying. It takes 3 weeks to compile the evidence package. Michael, Rodriguez, and Grace work overtime, cross-referencing dates, securing witness statements, organizing 18 months of therapy recordings into a timeline that even a jury could follow. Colonel Thompson calls in favors from his network. gets us connected with a lawyer who specializes in medical malpractice and ethics violations. Her name is Janet Reeves, and she's been practicing for 30 years. When I meet her in her office downtown, she spends 2 hours reviewing everything: the texts, the prescriptions, the photos, the recordings. When she's done, she takes off her glasses and sets them on her desk. Mr. Wilson, in my 3 decades of practice, I have never seen a case this clear-cut and this egregious. She taps the prescription bottle photo. This alone is enough to revoke his license. Everything else, the exploitation of therapy sessions, the pattern with other veterans, the documented gaslighting plan, that's grounds for criminal charges. What kind of charges? Fraud, abuse of professional position, possibly identity theft if we can prove he used your medical information inappropriately. The district attorney will have options. She leans forward. But I need to ask you something, and I need you to answer honestly. What do you want out of this? I think about Marcus crying in that conference room, about the 14 photos on Sarah's tablet, about every Tuesday for 18 months when I sat on that couch and bled my trauma into the recorder while Bennett planned his next move. I want him to never practice medicine again. I want every veteran to know what he did. And I want Sarah to face consequences too, not just for the affair, but for the fraud. She forged my signature on the credit card applications, used joint accounts to pay for hotel rooms, told her family I was getting worse so they'd give her money for my treatment that she spent on him. Janet nods. Then we'll file everything. Divorce citing adultery, Virginia still allows that. Alienation of affection, civil suit against Bennett. Fraud charges for the financial manipulation. And the medical board complaint with documentation from all 5 veteran families. How long? Medical board moves fastest. They don't want liability. 60 days for a hearing, maybe 90. Divorce will take longer unless she doesn't contest. Criminal charges could take a year. She stands. Mr. Wilson, James, you're doing the right thing, not just for you, for every soldier who comes after. Sarah moves out 4 days after the confrontation. She doesn't take much, some clothes, her laptop, a few boxes of personal items. Her parents drive up from North Carolina to help. They won't look at me. Her mother stops at the door on her way out. James, I don't know what she told you, but Sarah would never... Mrs. Patterson, your daughter photographed me during PTSD nightmares and sent those photos to her lover with mocking captions. I have copies of everything. If you want to see them, my lawyer can arrange that. Her mother's face crumbles. She leaves without another word. Sarah's lawyer calls 2 days later. She wants to settle the divorce quickly, no contest. She's asking for spousal support and half the house. Janet Reeves laughs when she hears this. She's asking for support while carrying another man's child after committing fraud? Tell her lawyer we'll see them in court. The medical board hearing is scheduled for 63 days after we file the complaint. June 18th, a Tuesday, ironically. In those 63 days, 2 more veteran families come forward, 7 total now. 7 men who trusted Dr. Christopher Bennett to help them heal. 7 wives he seduced during family support sessions. 7 pregnancies timed for maximum vulnerability. Grace coordinates everything. She's been magnificent, professional, tireless, fierce in her protection of these families. She organizes a support group for the veterans. We meet every Thursday at the VA center, and slowly, haltingly, we start to talk about it. I thought I was losing my mind, David says during one session. His wife Janet sits beside him, holding his hand. She's one of the wives who refused Bennett's advances. She came forward to testify about his attempts. He kept telling me that jealousy was a symptom of PTSD, that I needed to trust my wife more. Meanwhile, he was actively pursuing her. Same, Marcus says. Every time I suspected something, I'd bring it up in therapy. He'd tell me it was my trauma talking, that I was projecting my war experiences onto my marriage. I started to believe him. That's what they do, Colonel Thompson says. He's been attending these sessions, offering the kind of leadership that only comes from decades of service. They find your weak point and they exploit it. But here's what they forgot. We're not weak. We're wounded. There's a difference. Wounds heal, and wounded soldiers fight back. June 18th arrives. The medical board hearing is held in a conference room at the State Medical Building downtown. It's not a criminal trial, it's an administrative proceeding, but the room is packed. All 7 veteran families are here: Grace, Michael, Rodriguez, Colonel Thompson, Janet Reeves representing me, and the other families who have filed complaints, and Dr. Christopher Bennett, sitting at a table with his lawyer, looking smaller than I remember. The board consists of 5 members, 3 doctors, a nurse practitioner, and a public representative. The chair is Dr. Helena Santos, a woman in her 60s with steel gray hair and eyes that miss nothing. This hearing concerns multiple complaints filed against Dr. Christopher Bennett regarding ethical violations, abuse of professional position, and improper prescribing practices. Dr. Bennett, you've been provided with all documentation. Do you wish to make an opening statement? Bennett's lawyer stands. Dr. Bennett maintains that these were all consensual adult relationships that occurred outside the therapeutic setting. He denies any impropriety regarding his professional duties. Dr. Santos picks up a folder. Then let's examine the evidence. They start with the prescriptions. 7 bottles, 7 wives, all prescribed anxiety medication during the documented time frame of their affairs with Bennett. Janet presents the pharmacy records, the insurance billings, the dates cross-referenced with hotel surveillance and text messages. Dr. Bennett, Dr. Santos says, "Did you prescribe Xanax to Sarah Wilson on April 3rd of this year?" Yes, but she was experiencing anxiety related to her husband's condition. Her husband being your patient at the time? Yes, but... And were you in a sexual relationship with Mrs. Wilson when you wrote this prescription? Bennett's lawyer objects. That question assumes facts, not an evidence. Dr. Santos holds up a phone. My phone, specifically, the burner phone. We have documented text message conversations between Dr. Bennett and Mrs. Wilson, time-stamped before, during, and after this prescription was written, explicitly discussing their sexual relationship. Would you like me to read them aloud, doctor? Bennett goes pale. No. Did you disclose your relationship with Mrs. Wilson to your patient, James Wilson? No. Did you continue treating Mr. Wilson while conducting an affair with his wife? Yes. For how long? Bennett doesn't answer. His lawyer whispers something to him. 8 months? Bennett finally says. And during that time, did you use information from your therapy sessions with Mr. Wilson to facilitate your relationship with Mrs. Wilson? That's not... Janet stands. If I may, board chair, we have recordings. They play session 23, my voice talking about feeling distant from Sarah. Bennett's reassuring response. Then the timestamp showing Sarah's text to Bennett 3 minutes later. He's pulling away again. They play session 38. Me discussing wanting children. Bennett's encouragement. Sarah's text that evening. He's ready. Whenever you want to move forward with the plan, he won't suspect. They play 6 more sessions. Each one shows the same pattern. Me, vulnerable and honest on that couch. Bennett using every word I said as intelligence for his affair with my wife. Marcus is sitting 2 rows behind me. I hear him make a sound, halfway between a gasp and a sob, when they play a recording that mirrors his own experience. When the recordings finish, the room is silent. Dr. Santos looks at Bennett. Her face is ice. Dr. Bennett, you weaponized therapeutic trust. You exploited men who came to you for healing and used their trauma as a roadmap to seduce their wives. You prescribed controlled substances to facilitate sexual relationships with patients' family members. You created an environment where 7 veterans, 7 men who served this country, were gaslit into believing their own instincts were symptoms of mental illness. She picks up another folder. And according to these witness statements, when Mr. Wilson's wife became pregnant, you and she discussed a plan to convince him the child was his, despite knowing he was physically unable to have conceived during the documented time frame. Bennett's lawyer tries again. These were consensual relationships between adults. Counsel, be quiet. Dr. Santos doesn't raise her voice, but the lawyer sits down immediately. Dr. Bennett, you violated every ethical principle of your profession. You betrayed the trust of vulnerable patients. You used your position to prey on their families. And you did it systematically, repeatedly, over multiple years. She looks at the other board members. They nod one by one. This board votes unanimously to permanently revoke your medical license, effective immediately. You are banned from practicing any form of therapy or counseling in this state, or any state that honors reciprocal board actions. This decision will be forwarded to the appropriate criminal authorities for prosecution consideration. Bennett is standing now. You can't. I've practiced for 20 years. You practiced malpractice for 20 years, Dr. Santos says. You exploited those who served our country when they were at their most vulnerable. That is unforgivable. This hearing is concluded. The gavel comes down. Behind me, I hear Marcus start to cry. His wife, Emily, who refused Bennett's advances and brought her own testimony, is holding him. David is gripping his wife Janet's hand so hard his knuckles are white. Michael leans over, whispers in my ear, "Justice served, brother." I look at the front of the room. Bennett is packing his briefcase with shaking hands, his lawyer talking urgently. But Bennett isn't listening. His entire career just ended, his reputation destroyed. And according to Janet's whispered update, 3 civil lawsuits have already been filed by other families. More will follow. Financial ruin, professional death, social exile, real consequences for real evil. Drop justice served if you believe predators should lose everything. The divorce hearing is 2 weeks later. Sarah's lawyer has advised her to accept the settlement. She gets nothing except supervised visitation with the baby when it's born. No spousal support, no house, no joint assets. But it's the custody hearing, scheduled for late July after the baby is born, that matters most. Sarah went into early labor at 36 weeks. Stress-related, the doctors said. Baby Thomas, she named him that, at least she got that right, was born on July 22nd at 6 pounds, 4 ounces, healthy despite everything. The custody hearing is scheduled for August 3rd, when Thomas is 12 days old. Sarah's parents are in the courtroom. They're not sitting on her side anymore. They're sitting behind me. Her father approached me in the hallway before the hearing. "James, we had no idea. What she did," he couldn't finish. Just shook my hand and walked away. The judge is Marcia Henderson, late 50s, known for being tough but fair. She's reviewed all the evidence, the affair, the therapy exploitation, the financial fraud, the gaslighting plan. She's also reviewed the DNA test results, which confirm Christopher Bennett is Thomas's biological father. "Mrs. Wilson," Judge Henderson says, "you've heard Mr. Wilson's petition for full custody with supervised visitation for you. Do you contest this?" Sarah's lawyer stands. "Your Honor, my client acknowledges her mistakes, but she is the biological mother. She's capable of caring for..." "Counsel, I've read the evidence. Your client photographed her husband during PTSD episodes and shared those photos with her lover for entertainment purposes. She participated in a documented plan to exploit his trauma. She committed financial fraud using joint accounts, and she intended to pass another man's child off as her husband's through deliberate deception." Judge Henderson looks at Sarah. "Mrs. Wilson, you didn't make mistakes. You made calculated choices to inflict maximum harm on a man who served his country and trusted you to help him heal." Sarah is crying silently. Her lawyer has nothing to say. "This court finds that you are unfit for primary custody. The exploitation of Mr. Wilson's service-related trauma, combined with the systematic deception regarding paternity, constitutes emotional warfare against a veteran. I will not reward that behavior." Judge Henderson turns to me. "Mr. Wilson, I'm granting you full legal and physical custody of the minor child, Thomas Wilson. Ms. Wilson will have supervised visitation 2 hours per week at a location of your choosing. She will have no decision-making authority regarding the child's welfare until such time as she completes court-ordered therapy and demonstrates sustained behavioral change." She hands me the custody papers. "Mr. Wilson, this child is innocent of the sins of his parents. I trust you understand that." I look at Thomas in the bassinet beside the bailiff's desk. He's asleep, tiny hands curled into fists. He has Bennett's dark hair, but I don't care. He didn't choose any of this. "I do, Your Honor," I stand. "We don't leave our own." The judge pauses, looks at me carefully. "No, we don't. This court is adjourned." There are more consequences in the weeks that follow. Christopher Bennett is indicted on 4 counts of fraud and 1 count of abuse of professional position. The trial is set for next spring, but his lawyer is already negotiating a plea deal. He's moved out of state, according to Michael's sources. Trying to disappear, Sarah loses her job. She worked as an administrator at a hospital, the same hospital network that employs several doctors who testified against Bennett. HR launched an investigation when the hearing transcripts became public. Conflict of interest and ethical violations was the official reason. Everyone knows the real reason. Her friends from the military spouse community stopped calling. That network is tight-knit, and word spread fast about what she did. You don't exploit a veteran's trauma and keep your standing in that community. Her parents cut her off financially. Her mother told me, months later, that they couldn't reconcile the daughter they raised with a woman who photographed a soldier's nightmares for entertainment. Sarah moved to a small apartment across town, works at a call center now, has her 2 hours with Thomas every Wednesday afternoon at the VA Family Center, supervised by Grace. I don't take pleasure in her suffering, but I don't regret it either. Actions have consequences, real lasting consequences. 8 months later, Thomas is 10 months old now. He's starting to pull himself up on the furniture, trying to walk. He calls me Da. Not full Dada yet, but close. Close enough. The DNA says Christopher Bennett is his biological father. The birth certificate says I'm his dad. And every single day, I choose him. I choose to be here, to show up, to do the midnight feedings and the diaper changes and the pediatrician appointments. That's what being a father means, not biology, choice. I've started an advocacy group, the Veteran Family Protection Network. Grace helps me run it. We meet twice a month at the VA Center, and we help veterans who've been exploited by medical professionals, financial advisors, anyone who used their service as a weakness to exploit. We've helped 12 families so far, got 2 more therapists investigated, recovered $47,000 in fraudulent charges, connected veterans with lawyers who specialize in these cases. Colonel Thompson still comes to the meetings. So does Michael, even though he's not a veteran. Honorary member, he calls himself. The original 7 families are all still involved. We're building something here, something good from something terrible. Today is Thursday, support group day. I'm at the VA Center early, setting up chairs, when a young veteran walks in. Can't be more than 22, fresh off deployment based on the haircut and the way he carries himself. He's got that look, the one I used to see in the mirror, lost, scared, trying to hold it together. Can I help you? I ask. I'm looking for... Is this the Veteran Family Support Group? It is. I'm James Wilson. I run it. I hold out my hand. He shakes it. His grip is firm, but his hand trembles slightly. Tyler, he says. Tyler Morrison, Army. Just got back from Syria 3 months ago. Welcome home, Tyler. Have a seat. We've got about 20 minutes before everyone else gets here. I pour him coffee from the pot Grace brought. What brings you in? He sits, stares at his coffee. My girlfriend, well, ex-girlfriend now, she emptied our joint account while I was deployed. Told everyone I was coming back different and she couldn't handle it. Took everything. I don't know who to trust anymore. I sit down across from him, pull out my wallet, show him the photo I keep there. Thomas, grinning at the camera with 2 teeth showing. This is my son. He's 10 months old. His biological father is my therapist, who had an affair with my wife while treating me for PTSD. Tyler's eyes go wide. What? It's a long story. But the short version is, I trusted the wrong people, and they used my service against me. Tried to make me think I was crazy when I suspected. Nearly broke me. I put the photo away. But I didn't break, and neither will you. How do you trust anyone again? I reach over to the table behind us, pick up the shadow box I brought today, the one with my purple heart inside. You know what this represents? I ask, showing it to him. Valor, being wounded in combat. That's what everyone thinks, but no. It represents making a choice when everything in you screams to run. I chose my brothers. I refused to leave a man behind, even when staying almost got me killed. I hold the medal up to the light. The purple ribbon is faded, worn soft from years of my thumb rubbing the edge. Then life tested whether I could make that choice again, whether I could choose family after betrayal, whether I could choose this baby boy who has another man's DNA but my last name. Tyler is listening, really listening. I chose him, Tyler, every single day, and I chose the brothers here. I gesture around the room where other veterans are starting to arrive. The ones who showed up. The ones who investigated, who testified, who held me up when I thought I'd fall. But what if you make the wrong choice again? Tyler's voice cracks. What if you trust someone and then we'll be here. Michael has walked in, hearing the last part of the conversation. He claps a hand on Tyler's shoulder. That's what this is. Family, real family, the kind that shows up. Colonel Thompson arrives next, then Grace, then Marcus and David and the others. The room fills with voices, with laughter, with the sound of people who've survived hell helping each other through the after. Tyler looks around, and something in his face shifts. Hope, maybe. Or just the first breath after drowning. You trust the ones who earn it, I tell him. You trust the ones who show up when you fall. You trust those who don't leave. And if they do leave, I think about Sarah, about Bennett, about the 14 photos and the gaslighting plan, and the baby that isn't mine by blood, but is mine in every way that matters. Then you learn that family isn't about biology. It's about who stays, who shows up, who chooses you back. I stand, help Tyler to his feet. Come on, let me introduce you to your brothers. Later that night, after the meeting, after I've taken Thomas home and put him to bed, I sit in my office with the Purple Heart case open on my desk. The metal sits on its velvet backing, purple ribbon faded to lavender where the sun hits it. I earned this 20 years ago by refusing to leave a man behind, by choosing loyalty over survival. I earned it again this year, not in combat, not with bullets and blood, but by choosing to show up for other veterans when it would have been easier to disappear into my own pain, by choosing this baby who doesn't have my genes but has my heart, by choosing to fight through the system instead of giving into rage. Thomas calls me Da, not because of biology, not because a court said so, because I chose him, just like my brothers chose me when I needed them most. Michael sleeping on my couch for 2 weeks after the confrontation, Rodriguez filing paperwork on his days off, Colonel Thompson flying across the country to sit in my living room, Grace organizing support groups, Janet Reeves taking my case pro bono after the first consultation. That's what real family looks like. I close the case. The magnetic lid clicks shut. A sound I know like my own heartbeat. A sound that used to mean, I'm okay now. And for the first time in a long time, maybe I actually am. We don't leave our own, and that includes ourselves. If you found family beyond blood, or if you've survived betrayal and found purpose in helping others, share your story below. We're listening. We're here. We don't leave our own.